name's Dr. Boyce.com, the home for intelligent Black people. And so I want to welcome everybody today, everybody on Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. And I was just talking to my buddies on Instagram and all the Black folks that I love out there that are doing the damn thing. And now I'm bringing you guys in on YouTube because I want to have this conversation right now about some criticism somebody sent me. There was actually a whole conversation that was happening on Clubhouse. I didn't even know people really use Clubhouse anymore, but there was a whole conversation on Clubhouse about a conversation I had, a video I did last week about the Black Panther movie and explaining why I personally didn't have much interest in seeing Black Panther 2. I wasn't judging anybody's right to see Black Panther 2 or not to see it. I wasn't trying to disrespect Ryan Coogler or anybody else, but I really felt that there was a reason to kind of hit the brakes a little bit and really talk about some things as we kind of break it down. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Also, shout out the city that you're from. Let us know what city that you're from. Also, just so you guys may or may not know this, but actually this podcast is actually on Spotify or Apple or anywhere you get your podcast. So if you look up the Dr. Boyce Breakdown on Spotify, you can find this podcast. So if you're rolling in your truck or you want to listen while you're exercising or whatever the case may be, you can just look up the Dr. Boyce Breakdown on Spotify. And I also have to do, as a public service announcement, warn you that I guess as our platform's gotten big, we're approaching 1 billion views across different platforms. And so what happens when you get a bigger platform is you have scammers and people that pretend to be you. So I want to warn everybody that if you get somebody that looks like me, that has copied pictures of me and my wife and put them on a Facebook or Instagram page, and they're asking you to DM them about some sort of crypto scheme or whatever, or send them on something on WhatsApp, that's not me. So don't let them take your money. And I know that they're getting money out of people. That's why I have to say this. So please be careful. If you see a fake account, please report it. With that said, how's everybody doing today? Is everybody having a good Sunday? We are live on Sunday. You may see the recording. If you see the recording after Sunday, it's still okay. The knowledge and information is still relevant. How many of you, give me a yes or no, how many of you are going to go see the Black Panther 2 when it comes out? Let's tell the truth. Let's be honest. It's okay. I want you to know it's okay to go see it. I don't want you to think I'm telling you not to go see it. I'm not actively campaigning against going to see the Black Panther movie. I'm just explaining why I personally, just out of like stupid protest, don't plan to see it. But to be honest with you, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I got a house full of girls, my wife, my 2 daughters, and then we got our son. I might get forced to go. I might get pressured, into doing, and I'm gonna do anything for my girls. I'm sorry, I don't give a damn what nobody says. Anything for my girls, anything for my wife. I love them. So if they say, "Boyce, you need to hold your nose, hold your breath, and come see the movie," or you need to come see the movie to know, to know what you're talking about specifically, I might have to go do that. But I don't plan to go do it. If it's up to me, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna put it on my agenda. And the reason I'm not going to is because I saw that trailer. And that trailer triggered me. That trailer really triggered me because it reminded me of something that I am seeing all throughout this society. What I'm seeing all throughout this society is the erasure of the straight Black male, the erasing of the masculine Black male. I watched that trailer. I basically saw the Black Wonder Woman. Now, if you remember, Wonder Woman was a movie where they lived in this fantasy world, like kind of a white woman fantasy world, where there was an island where there were no men on the island. The men did not exist. The men, they didn't even need the men to make babies. Literally, the women, I guess the lesbians found a way to, reproduce, because that's kind of how they think. They think that they can, I guess, play God. And literally on this island, there were no women. I mean, there were no men on this island at all. It was all women all the time. So the women even served the roles as the men. They picked up swords and they fought. And, I guess, I don't know, the women had balls and penises and stuff. I have no idea what the dynamics were exactly, but really is interesting. And I read this article in The Cut magazine. And the title of the article was, "The first 20 minutes of Wonder Woman are the best part of the movie." And what they go into saying in this article is that the best part of that film was the fact that their men did not exist. That meant that literally in this world, there were only women and there were no men. Now, I want to ask y'all a question. Give me a yes or no. How many of y'all think that's just a little bit weird? How many of you think that it's a little bit weird when you have women that really celebrate the mass extermination, the annihilation of all men on the entire planet? Do you think that's a little bit strange? Do you think that that's a little bit out of balance? I mean, do you think that our ancestors, I'm talking about our ancestors, I'm talking about the ones we had before slavery and before oppression and before integration, do you think that our ancestors would agree with that? Like, do you think that the black women in ancient Kemet would say, yeah, we want to exterminate all of our men. We want to get rid of every person that's male that has a penis and testicles needs to be killed immediately because we don't need men at all. Like, do you think it's a little weird? I thought it was crazy. And what's so fascinating is I'm still learning to understand the gender war that tends to exist amongst Eurocentric people. It's this weird gender war, and I don't know what those men did to those women. I don't know. I don't know the whole history and all that. I know they treated them pretty badly, but it's kind of crazy, and it gets to the point of almost being sick and toxic and just very strange. And so what I think we have to be cautious about as Black people is that we have some of our people, because we don't know who we are, sometimes you get tricked into becoming a Negropean. You become a Negropean because maybe you don't have any values of your own. You don't know exactly who you are. So you internalize Eurocentric value systems because you believe that his ice is colder. You believe that being more like him in all his weirdness, the man, the oppressor, whatever you want to call it, you believe you become a white supremacist. You believe that being more like those other people just makes you a better person. It makes you smarter. You're a new Negro. You're distinguished. You mighty fine with your fine self and your fine clothing and your fancy college degree. Well, what I'm here to just say is I want to push up against some of that. I want to push up against some of that because it's not, from what I have seen, it has not benefited your community. We've talked extensively about how, despite what you learned in school, that white teacher that taught you in your elementary school, despite what they taught you in school, integration was not a good thing for Black people. It did not help Black people. If you look at most indicators of quality of life for Black people, our quality of life did not get better as a result of integration. We lost our wealth. We are less educated than we were before when we had Black teachers that loved us. Now we got white teachers that hate our guts. We have so much violence in so many of our communities. And also our family structure is weaker. It is not stronger than it was before integration. So when you tell me that integration is wonderful, or that somehow the blending us into a broader society, that false assimilation, if you will, has benefited us, I ask you to provide the evidence. And 9 times out of 10, you can't really provide any evidence. You just think you're better off because you believe that whatever that other person has over there is better than what you had at home. And so I encourage you to challenge that and question that. Okay. So do me a favor before we move on, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I want to say thank you to everybody who came out to the Black Wealth Builders Summit in Detroit. Herb Strather hosted that. Herb Strather and Gary Shelton have done over $1 billion in deals, business deals. These are the people that you need to listen to. You know, I know the media tells you to go listen to that ignorant rapper who can't spell his mama's name and all that. You shouldn't be getting financial advice from rappers. You need to get financial advice from financial experts. It's like getting financial advice from some of these rappers is like asking a homeless person to do heart surgery on your body. And then you wonder why you got infections. You wonder why you died during surgery. You wonder why the shit didn't work. It's because you're getting advice from the wrong people. So ultimately, when we talk about who I'm listening to, I listen to the OGs who understand what they're doing, who can show and prove, who actually achieve the things we're trying to achieve. I listen to Dr. Claude Anderson. I listen to people like Kenny Gamble. I listen to Dr. George C. Frazier. I'm going down to Houston this week for his Power Networking Conference. Those are the people that I want to listen to. So anyway, so I want to give a shout out to them. All right, so here's what so let's go back to the Black Panther. So the Black Panther movie, we've established that this is not a Black-owned movie. Do you understand that the Black Panther movie is not really a Black movie because we don't own that movie? It doesn't mean that it can't benefit Black people. It doesn't mean that the Black directors and actors aren't great. It doesn't mean that the story can't be well done. It just means that it's not a Black-owned movie. And it's important to understand that, because if you get overly attached to something that does not belong to you, then you are at risk of having that thing taken away from you. If I get attached, if I become a babysitter of a child and I really start to believe that I'm that child's parent, then I'm going to get my heart broken, because eventually the real parents are going to come along and take that baby away. right? So that movie is like a baby. You get attached to things that don't belong to you. Like you look at shows like Good Times and you say, "Oh, that was the best black show ever," when really Good Times was owned by somebody else. Or A Different World is a great example. I brought that up where a lot of people want to bring back A Different World and want to do a reboot, but they can't because Warner Brothers said, "Oh, you thought you owned the movie? No, we own that movie. That's our movie. We're not going to do a reboot because we don't give a damn about whatever effect you think this movie had on black or this show had on black culture." Because remember, Different World got a lot of people going to HBCUs. It made a lot of people feel very proud because these were quality people that they were presenting on screen. Shout out to Cosby and all of his people for doing that. But that wasn't our show. We didn't own that, right? So the Black Panther is owned by Disney. The people that benefit from the creation of this movie, from that $1.3 billion that was made last time, they're going to make over $1 billion again this time, I'm sure. It's going to be Disney shareholders. So I own shares of Disney. My family will benefit from the creation of this movie. So I'm not 100% mad that they're making it. I want Disney to keep making me money. So ultimately, just understand the dynamics so you don't get caught up in the nonsense, and also understand why black owned media is so important. We've got to also create black owned, black controlled media, because you should not allow other people outside of your community to control the images that are presented to your children or the ideas that are permeated throughout your community. That they will destroy you. So with this trailer of Black Panther, I remember watching it, and I talked about it last week, so I'm just going to kind of quickly recap that I saw that there was no men in the trailer hardly. I think I saw one black man or something like that, maybe two. I think it was mostly one. And I saw a very strong Wonder Woman vibe. I saw a very strong feminist vibe. I saw a very strong LGBT vibe. I have nothing against people having the right to say and believe what they want to believe. I certainly am not. I don't have time to sit around hating on gay people or trans people or anything like that. That's not in my interest. I don't believe in hating anybody. I believe in loving ourselves. But one of the things that really concern me is that sometimes when you feel like you're oppressed, you can actually become the oppressor. Sometimes when you feel like you're fighting against oppression because you're the victim, you can actually become the victimizer. Do you understand what I'm saying? And what? Let me give you an example. One time I spoke in Houston, not too long ago, a couple years ago. There was a young black male who was about 19 years old who came to the event, and he listened intensely. He was taking notes in the front row. And I left the room, went to the bathroom. He followed me to the bathroom and was talking to me. And then I came out. He was waiting for me when I came out of the bathroom. Everywhere I went, this kid was just following me. And I don't mind it. That's Uncle Boyce in me. I love talking to college students. I've been a college professor for 30 years now. So, I've had my PhD for 20 years, and I started teaching college when I was 22 years old. So I love teaching young people. I love it. I'm good at it. It's fun for me because you should. If you want to be smart and you want to succeed, you should listen to people to know what the hell they're talking about. So I was just talking to the kid, just talking to him. So here's what happened. And this is going to explain, the reason I did this podcast, because I saw that there were some college students who were really mad about what I said about the Black Panther movie. Like, oh, you hate women and you hate gay people and you're just an old blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, yeah, believe everything you want to believe. But let me just kind of put it into context and understand why I can't really acknowledge. I can acknowledge what I can acknowledge of what you're saying, but I want to kind of give you another point of view. So I was talking to this college student. He was about 19 years old, and he had been following me around all day and just asking me all these questions, and I didn't mind it, but it was a lot, right? And so he finally said to me, he said, Dr. Boyce, I have to be honest with you. I said, yeah, well, so what do you mean? He said, about 2-3 years ago, I never would have listened to somebody like you. He said, I was in high school. I was the star of my football team. I had a white girlfriend. All my friends were white. He said, I didn't listen to people like you because I didn't believe that racism existed. I thought that was old fashioned, that people like you you're just talking about stuff from the past and it doesn't apply anymore or whatever. And so let me tell you what happened to this kid. This is a true story. He said, so I was graduating from high school. I was a star of the football team and a straight A student. I had scholarships to Harvard and Stanford and Yale and all the top universities. He said, then there was a white woman I was dating who accused me of rape. And he said that when he got that accusation, he said, all of my white friends abandoned me. He said, they all abandoned me. And he said that I was in a play, And he said that this play was called Black Lives Matter. Literally, I kid you not. You can't make this shit up. I'm telling y'all, this is a true story. He said the play was called Black Lives Matter or something like that. And there were a lot of white people in it and a lot of black people in it. He said that even the white actors that were in this play called Black Lives Matter treated him like a rapist when there was no proof that he'd done anything wrong. He said, Dr. Boyce, I did not hurt that lady. I didn't do any of that. And he said, and listen to this, pay attention now. This is, if you're a black woman, this is gonna make you proud. He said, the only people that stood by me that were fair to me during that time where all my white friends had abandoned me was the black women that were in the play. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Are y'all catching the story? This story freaked me out. So he said the only people that stood by me were the black women. And I said, well, it's been like that since slavery. I said, the black woman has always been protecting the black man. That's why I don't understand it when these guys are rejecting black women and want to go marry Becky, because I just don't get it. I don't get it. You deserve to be honored for what you've done for us for all these years. And so then he says that, check this out. He says it came out later that this girl had a severe mental illness, that she was a liar. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise, Becky wasn't telling the truth. But then we have slogans like believe all women. You should believe all women. Like somehow there's a truth serum inside the vagina that makes women incapable of telling a lie. Give me a yes or no. Let's be clear. Can women lie? Give me a yes. Let's just reconfirm this. I need to double check. Are women capable of lying like men? Give me a yes or no in the chat. Are women capable of lying, or are men, we the only ones who are able to tell a lie? All right. So it turns out that she made it up, and there was proof of that eventually. And he was completely exonerated. He was exonerated, but he'd spent several months of his life under the stigma of being a rapist. And he was traumatized. He said, Dr. Boyce, and I've seen it happen before. You ever have somebody that's like super white and they think that white people are awesome, and they just, don't get me wrong, if you're white, don't be offended, but you know how y'all are, right? And they think that racism doesn't exist and whatever, and then something terrible happens and suddenly they go from one extreme to the other. They become like the blackest person in the room, and they're like, let me tell y'all what these white folks are doing. Let me tell you about racism. And you're like, we were trying to tell your silly ass back in the day, but you were swearing to us that racism doesn't exist anymore. And so he had become super black, basically. He said that traumatized me to the point where I was afraid of white women. I was afraid of white people. And it's not logical. So listen to this, pay attention now. This is a real story, and it gets to the context of how I would respond to those young students and those young people that were on that chat. And I guess they had legitimate criticism. I'm not saying they don't have a right to believe what they believe. But I have a right to believe what I believe, and I'm going to stick with it. I'm not going to change. So he told me that he goes to Stanford University. And when he gets to Stanford, he's thinking, okay, I'm with my people now. I'm joining the Black Student Union. And he said, I get there, and he said it was kind of weird. They were making everybody put their pronouns on their door. And he said, I'm just a guy. Like, I don't want to do pronouns. And they basically kind of, really shamed him into making sure that he had to put his pronouns on the door, according to this kid. This is his story, right? And so then he says, he said, I went to a Black Student Union meeting, and everybody's talking about racism and oppression, and the women are speaking, and the LGBT students are speaking, and blah blah blah. And he said, I tried to get up as a straight Black male and talk about the trauma that I went through of being falsely accused of sexual assault and how that affected me emotionally. And he claims that they just shut him down. They said, we don't want to hear you talk anymore. You've got straight Black male privilege. Whoever the fuck made that up. Like, I don't know. How many of y'all think straight Black men are just privileged? Like, do y'all think we really just got all these privileges? If we got privileges, where do I go sign up? I need to go sign up for all these straight Black male privileges that give me access to massive amounts of wealth and power in this country. I need to know what these straight Black male privileges are. Now, mind you, I do have privileges now, but I had to earn them. I had to earn them. As a straight black kid in Kentucky, there wasn't no privileges that came with that. Wasn't no Amex card in my book bag when I went to school. I remember having to take the worst jobs. I would go work in a restaurant and the white girl would get to be the hostess. They always put my black ass in the kitchen. I'll be back there washing dishes. I don't know nothing about no straight black male privileges nowhere. Now I have privileges that come with being a 51-year-old black man who with a PhD, but I had to work for that. I have privileges that come with being a 51-year-old black man who's a millionaire. Let's just be honest. My net worth is online. I had to work for that. I have the straight black male privilege of having a strong family. I had to work for that. So the privileges I got, I had to earn those. I don't know nothing about no straight black male privileges that were handed to me because I'm not a white man. I'm not a white guy. I don't have what he's got. And so when you have a Negro-Pean mindset where they're somehow convinced that the straight black male is basically, according to the Root.com wrote this ridiculous article where they literally said the straight black male is the white male of the black community or some ridiculous shit like that. I'm like, what are you talking about? What planet are you living on, dude? What is this? So here's the deal. When you talk about so-called straight black male privilege, I don't understand what you're talking about. Last time I checked, black males were the most likely to be incarcerated. Last time I checked, when Joe Biden passed the crime bill, straight black males were the ones that he went after first. We were the ones getting the 50-year prison sentences for possession of a Hunter Biden level of crack cocaine. Maybe one 1,000th of what Hunter had would get us 500 years in prison, damn near. Right? I don't know of any of these privileges that you talk about. So what tends to occur, in my view, is that we have millions of young black college students who don't know nothing about being black. Now I want you to process this for a moment. Y'all been sending Negroes to college for decades. We getting educated out the ass. I mean, we really are hustling when it comes to going to school and getting those degrees. And I'm a college professor, so I respect it. I respect what you accomplish in college. I think it's a wonderful thing. But I think that what we don't process is the fact that most major white universities are indoctrination factories for liberal ideologies. What you don't process is not so much, I have no problem with the math and the science and the biology that you learn. What I have a problem with is this holier than thou wokeness that some of our black college students come back with. You coming back and you talking to your uncle who been hustling and running a business for 20, 30 years, who actually owns an asset that can employ black people. And you're talking down to him because you have a degree from Brown University and $150,000 in student loans and no skill other than the ability to go find the nearest white person that you can work for. That's all you know how to do. Let's just keep it 100. Let's be real clear. Like, all you know how to do is go to your allies and beg them for opportunities. And you got the audacity to bring your ass back to the hood, back to the community with people that were able to make $1 out of 15 cents, that were holding it down while you were off on your college campus, and talk down to them like they're behind the curve. Well, Grandma, you're homophobic, Grandma, because you go to church and the Bible, you're listening to the Bible and leave Grandma alone. Grandma ain't hurting nobody. Grandma is not running out in the street beating up gay people because they're gay. Grandma just has her beliefs, and she has the right to have those beliefs. I got deeply offended when I would see black commentators on TV talking about the black church, a sacred institution, one of the few institutions that you have that white people did not destroy during integration, by the way, and saying, look, the black church is all homophobic. No, stop that. Shut up. You sound stupid. You're 22 years old. You don't know nothing. You need to spend the next 15 years just shutting up and listening and learning multiple perspectives. Because what can occur is that you inadvertently have become a double agent in some cases. You are a white supremacist. You just are wearing a black face, but you're coming back with all these ideas that literally sound like a checklist of whatever the liberal ideology is supposed to be. And you come in and you talk about things as if you are so advanced and you understand all the solutions in the community, yet you can't create one job for a black person. You can't create one possibility or opportunity. You have no ability to control anything that happens in the community. But you come back because that white man gave you a piece of paper, and somehow that makes you better than everybody else who really understands what's really going on. You're looking down on black mothers who are raising quality children and saying, well, you're not as good as me because I got a corporate career. Fuck your career. Don't get me wrong. Your career is great. I'm happy for you. But you're living paycheck to paycheck. You're a lawyer and you have 200,000 in student loans and you're living paycheck to paycheck. So clearly you haven't figured everything out. So stop talking down on people in the community that have values that are different from you and the European professors who put those ideas in your head. Maybe we don't care as much about environmentalism and transgenderism and all these other isms that you care about. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that you don't have a right to believe those things. But what you got to understand is that there is a game. There's a white supremacy game being played at an epic level that you don't even understand. They are smart. They develop entire institutions that do nothing but reinforce their value systems on you. And next thing you know, you're showing up for every election, voting for every Democrat, and yet nothing is changing in your community. Nothing's better in your life. Well, you are the strongest woman on the block who don't need no man, but you're crying yourself to sleep every night because you're lonely. You don't understand why a man don't want to be around you for more than 20 minutes or want to be around you longer than the amount of time it takes to have sex with you. You don't understand. You're lost. You're lost. So what I was just trying to help you understand is that when you talk about understanding what it means to be black, I believe that is a deep spiritual process that you have to go through. And the more you're allowing outside people or Eurocentric minded people to shape your definition of blackness, the more wrong you're going to get. Now, let me circle back around to the Black Panther. Let's get back to that. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I want to remind everybody that the All Black National Convention is going to happen October 28th through the 30th in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you'd like to join us, just go to boycewatkins.com. You can bring the whole family. We're going to have tons of panels, tons of training, tons of information, tons of everything. And it's also a lot of fun. Even my wife is going to do speed dating because she wants quality black people to meet other quality black people. So if you want to come out and hang out with us, just go to boycewatkins.com. Bring your kids. We have a whole educational track for children. It's going to be a lot of fun because we believe in educating our own kids. So here's what my thought is when I see what was put into the Black Panther trailer. I heard that Killmonger is coming back, and I'm a fan of Killmonger. I get it. Killmonger's been through a lot, and he was talking real pro-black, and Michael B. Jordan, played the hell out of that character. He's a great actor. And now remember though, what's interesting is that even if Killmonger comes back and presents some sort of black male presence, remember this though, Killmonger is a villain. Killmonger represents the fact that the straight black male has been defined in many spaces, white spaces, LGBT spaces, a lot of feminist spaces, as a villain. Killmonger is toxic masculinity. Let me give you an example. Does anybody remember when Killmonger committed a lot of very sacred crimes, where he went in and killed the old ladies? Killmonger did some horrible shit, right? So if you say that Killmonger coming back represent or somehow contradicts my point that black men are not fully represented in this film in an appropriate way, no, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm not saying that he can't be a villain. I'm not saying Michael Jordan isn't a great actor. I'm not saying that Ryan Coogler isn't a great director. But let's just be clear: Killmonger. All of us are fighting against the Killmongers in our communities. When you look at toxic hip hop artists with 18 babies mamas who will smack the shit out of their wife or girlfriend at any moment and just do ignorant things in the community, those are the Killmongers in my view. Those are the guys that we got to deal with. We none of us enjoy the Killmongers. I like the pro-black side of Killmonger, but I did not like the toxic side of Killmonger. So just be clear though, that when you hear narratives like you see on theroot.com, that the straight black male is the white male of the black community, they're really basically connecting to this Killmonger-ish ideology that the straight black male is toxic, that masculinity is toxic, and that being gay as a black man makes you good, it makes you safe, it makes you wonderful. That's why in corporate America, from what I understand, I got to look up the study just to be sure. One of the few groups in corporate America that make almost as much money as the white male is the gay black male. So black men tend to be accepted in our society if they are if they either want to date other men, or if they are just feminine, or if they're very weak, or if they're very childlike. That's why rappers can get into spaces. Ignorant, destructive rappers can get into spaces that scholars cannot. Dr. Claude Anderson, as a masculine, strong black male, is a greater threat than the rapper who gets on stage in front of 100,000 white people and calls himself a nigga all day, right? Because they know that this guy is a joke. They know that he's 40 years old acting like he's a teenager. They know that he's doing things to harm the community. They know that he doesn't respect his own women. They know that he ain't taking care of his own children. They know that he's very happy to show up with a Gucci belt on and give all his money away to Europeans. They know that he's high and drunk all the time. They know that he's a perfect tool for white supremacy because they can plant him up in front of the world and make him into a role model. Whereas at the same time, you're taking your strong black men. I'm talking about the leaders. I'm talking about the fathers. I'm talking about the thinkers. I'm talking about the critical analyzers. I'm talking about the men that have strategic thinking, and you want to push those to the back. That's why when Ice Cube stepped up as a straight black intelligent man with logical thinking and strategic thinking, who wasn't afraid of the power structure, that's why a lot of even black people were positioned by white-owned media to attack Ice Cube. It was just like plantation days. It was like that Negro starting a revolution. Sambo, go get him. Get him, Sambo. Bite his legs off, Sambo. So because they knew they couldn't do it because it would be seen as racist. So what they did was they got black people to do it. And many of these black people, if you look at their backgrounds, they're the ones who went to these white liberal universities that are indoctrination factories, and they truly believe that they know what's best for the community because they've been given this stamp of approval from whoever educated them. So they're coming back and saying, no, that's bad because you're going to get black people to not vote for Joe Biden, and that's just bad. When I'm just sitting here logically saying, where in the hell can you show me evidence that black people are benefiting from any of these things that you're trying to do? Remember, you're talking about Negroes that don't even know how to create a job, can't solve no problems in the community without their allies. Their solution to every problem that exists amongst black people, pay attention now, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. Their solution to any problem that plagues black people is let's go ask white people for more permission. Let's go ask white people for help. Let's go see if white people will be nicer to us. Let's go tell white people that Black Lives Matter. Seriously, that's all they can't. They're like a little kid. They become like children. Children who can't do anything without their parents. But I can get us to the store. Let me ask my mama for a ride. No, I don't want to be the kid who got to ask his mama for a ride, especially when you're 30. I want to be the one who says, let's get in my car and let's drive. or let's get on my bike and let's ride. Or let's just walk. I'm tired of asking for permission. I'm tired of asking for approval. I don't want any of that. And you shouldn't ask for approval either. Why would you ask for approval from people that hate you and that in many ways have a culture that is inferior to your own? Now, I'm not talking about all black culture. I'm not talking about false black culture. I'm talking about quality black culture created by black people who are building for the community. I'm talking about the black folks that are in this chat right now who have strong families where you done been with your wife. I meet you. I see these brothers out here. I got in the truck with a guy in New Orleans. He saw me on the street and he said, hey, Dr. Boyce. And he gave me a ride because I was waiting on my Uber. And I said, well, can I just hop in your truck? We hopped in the truck. This brother told me that he has been married to his wife 32 years, that they had 3 intelligent children, that they had a family business, that they were all running together, and that he had over $1 million in assets. This is a regular guy. I just bumped into him. I see you all the time. This is a typical day for me. When I travel, when I hit the road, when I was in Detroit this week, I saw them there. When I was in New Orleans the previous week, I saw them there. When I go to Houston next week, I'm gonna see them there. This is your black community. This is the future of the community. He said, yeah, me and my wife, we're taking class. We're learning how to buy multifamily property now. And so now we have the business. We have our stocks. We're learning stock options from you. And we're doing this and doing that. And my kids their financial literacy level is higher than most adults. This is the black community. And if those are the people that matter in your community that are really getting it done, that are really achieving their goals, why is it that when you turn on the TV, all you see are the buffoons and the idiots and the assholes? I mean, some of these guys, I'm sorry, I don't hate rappers. Killer Mike is a friend of mine he's out of Atlanta. I love Killer Mike. And he said to me one time, he was honest. He said, Doc, you got to be careful, Doc, because rappers are going to think you don't like rappers. And I said, that's because I don't like some of these motherfuckers. I just don't. I don't dislike them all. I love Immortal Technique. I was on the phone with Immortal Technique. We talked for hours. He's a great guy. I love D1. I love Kendrick Lamar. Like, I can get what these guys make sense to me. Nipsey Hussle, R.I.P. Love what he was doing before he died. But some of these guys, it's like, who are you working for? What is your goal? How much do you hate your own people? So no, I personally just really need you to understand that you've got the real ones in your community. You've got those quality fathers out there. You've got those mothers that really love us as Black men. You've got these families that are just doing extraordinary things. And because you don't own your own media, you're not seeing those people because these are not the people that they're inviting to appear on CNN or whatever. I got banned. I got blackballed from CNN. I used to be on CNN for a while when they thought that I was going along with the agenda when I was on the faculty at Syracuse University. A lot of Syracuse graduates are really deep in journalism. They have a great journalism school. So a lot of them would invite me on. They say, oh, a Syracuse professor, we'll have him on. And then when they found out what I was talking about, they were like, ooh, this guy's a little dangerous. Well, what makes me dangerous? Did I bring a gun? And do I look like a mass shooter? Did I bring a gun into the station? Well, no. But did I rape somebody? Do you think I would hurt somebody or punch somebody in the face? No. What made me dangerous was simply what was in my brain. Independent thought is very dangerous when it comes to Black people because there are people who have a direct vested interest in controlling your mind. So what I would say to you is I'm not telling you to agree with me. I mean, my Lord, that wouldn't be fair for me to do that. I'm just telling you to control your own thinking. Get your own ideas. It doesn't make sense that you have college campuses that are afraid to invite Louis Farrakhan to come speak to the Black students. That happened. I went to an event with Farrakhan about maybe 3-4 years ago at one of the schools in California. It wasn't San Diego State. It was Long Beach State or something like that. And one of the Black students who was the head of a group there, who was also happened to be a member of the Nation of Islam, he really understood the importance of connecting the Black students with the authentic Black leaders in the community. So I was there, Farrakhan was there, and some other people were there. And the Black LGBT students came to the event just to disrespect Farrakhan, just to all simultaneously stand up and walk out the door to make sure that they disrespected Farrakhan. So here's the deal. What I'm saying is that somebody put you up to this. Somebody asked you to go do their dirty work. They said, look, it will be racist for us to oppress the thinking of this guy. So we're going to get our Black students and get them riled up to go and do the work for us. And I just didn't think that was necessary because Farrakhan ain't out here really protesting you. I'm not protesting you. I know that for sure. So why in the world are you going out of your way to keep Black people on the same path of thinking that has led us into the abysmal situation that we're in today? So going back to Black Panther, do me a favor, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. And also I want to mention this to you now that I remember this, the platform, we're approaching 1 billion views across the platform. So some of you would ask to actually advertise on the platform or get shout outs for your businesses or your platform or your organization. You have a YouTube channel, stuff like that. It's not free, but if you'd like to advertise on the platform, you can go to drboycefinance.com. So the URL is on the screen. If you'd like to advertise, just fill out the form. And if your brand or your product fits the values of this platform, then I can give you a shout out on the platform. All right. So with that said, one of the things about the Black Panther movie is they have to be extremely careful about sort of having this white-owned film with Black faces on it, presenting the Black community in the way that is has been shaped by these stereotypes. The stereotype that they have of your community is that you are a community that is devoid of your men. And because your men are not here, because your men are cowards, or they're baby making machines, or they're just stupid, or they're lazy, or they're losers, the women have to pick up the swords and defend the kingdom because the Black man is too crippled, too disabled, so much of a baby that he can't do that himself. This is the narrative that I believe a lot of people have about the Black community. They look at our community, they say, "What is wrong with your men?" And it's real subtle, and it offends the hell out of me because I never identify with any of those values because I was raised by a strong Black man who taught me that when you are a man, that your presence should be felt in a very positive way. That the people in your life should be better off because you're there. They should be safer because you're around. They should be happier and more fulfilled. They should be more financially protected and emotionally protected and supported because of your existence, right? So this narrative is all that it really is. It's not just a Black version of Wonder Woman, you know, Wonder Woman with that island where they pretended like men didn't exist, but it also comes off as basically a cinematic version of the strong Black woman narrative. And the strong Black woman narrative is not necessarily a bad one all the time. It's great. I like, my wife is a strong Black woman. I'm very happy that I have a strong wife who's not a powder puff because my life ain't easy. You know, being in the space that I'm in comes with privileges, but it also comes with problems and challenges. And I knew when I got married, I said, I can't marry no weak ass, soft ass woman who's sitting around scared and worried about what people think. I need to marry a woman who is strong enough to stick by me, even if times get tough. So my wife has that strength, and I honor her for that. I think that's a wonderful thing. My grandmother was a very strong Black woman, but the dark side of that strong Black woman narrative is, number one, it came about because so many women don't feel that there is a man around that they can depend on to support them when they need support. They have been around the shiesty, shaky Negroes their whole life. Their father was shiesty as hell. Their uncles, they saw their uncles just buckle and fold like little bitches. They're used to the men not being able to come through and do what I believe men are supposed to do. They're not used to men with courage and strength or intelligence or skill. They're used to men who sit around and smoke weed all day and play Xbox in their drawers and want to go and get with random hoes and just be as irresponsible as possible, who don't even want to pick up a book if you put a gun to their head. They've seen that. And let's just be clear. Let's just be honest. That exists out there. And I'm sorry if you're in that category. I'm asking you to step up because it's trifling as hell. It's embarrassing. That's not how God made you. God did not build you to be that person. So stop it. So what unfortunately occurs is that you have this narrative of Black women saying, you know, you can't depend on the men, so we got to do it ourselves. We have to be the men of our community. So I need to get a Father's Day card because ain't no father around. And I just think that that's sick. I think that's unbalanced. I think it doesn't work. I don't think it's good. I don't think it should be perpetuated. And so one of the things you must understand is that media images do play a role in either perpetuating stereotypes or defying stereotypes. Hollywood knows this. Hollywood has known this for 100 years. That's why when you watch most Hollywood films, the trans person or the gay person in many cases will be the hero, or they'll be the smartest person in the room, or they'll be the most liked person ever. Watch, there's a show called Billions. And there's a lady on there who isn't quite, I think she's trans, right? And I'm not making fun of it at all. I promise you I'm not. And but she's clearly in that space of not quite being male or female. And she is the smartest person on the show. That was not done by accident. What is also not done by accident is that if you watch a lot of movies that are put out, the Black male is presented as the coward, he's presented as the buffoon, or he's presented as toxic. If he does have masculinity, it is Killmonger toxic masculinity. It's not superhero Captain America masculinity. It's not him being a strong man and a good guy. It's if he's strong, he's a bad guy, and if he's a good guy, he's a pussy. I was watching the Kevin Hart movie, and I like Kevin Hart. Don't get me wrong. I know people that know Kevin, and I don't want Kevin to even think that I'm dissing him at all. I promise you I'm not. But I was watching the Kevin Hart movie. It was really good. It was called The Man from Toronto. And in this movie, there was a white male played by Woody Harrelson who was a contract killer. And he was really competent and strong and capable, and he could kick everybody's ass in a second. And then Kevin Hart comes along, and he's just a complete buffoon. He's a coward. He's stupid. He don't know what's going on. He's funny. He's like, and if you notice that, that's a consistent pattern. If you go back to, say, for example, Rush Hour with Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan, perfect, competent, focused, kicking everybody's ass. Chris Tucker comes along, man, what you doing? Man, I was scared, man. Woo! Sorry, I'm choking because I can't do that high-pitched voice very well. But seriously, that's a consistent pattern. That goes back. You can go back to Richard Pryor movies. Richard Pryor was scared of a box of Cheerios. So in many cases, the black male is presented in a certain way in movies. He's either non-existent, or there's some single black mom who needs help from white people in order to get by, or he is a buffoon, or he is very funny, or he's very childlike, right? And if he is masculine, in many cases, he'll come off it's very toxic. So what I think with this film, I think that what bothered me about it is that my hope was that even though the Black Panther is not a black-owned movie, my hope is that we would be very conscious about creating narratives where black men and black women come together as families and work together to achieve common goals that better everybody. I don't really like the deficit model of the black woman feeling like the black man is not there for her, because it personally triggers me because it's too consistent with the reality that some of us have seen. And I want to just really apologize to black women that have to go through that, because it should not be that way. It's not supposed to be that way. But I also think it's very important for black people to understand where that narrative came from. It came from a lot of things, Jim Crow, slavery, and all that stuff. But then also when you talk about the war on drugs, when crack cocaine was dropped into the black community, and you had so many black people getting hooked on drugs, getting arrested for drugs, or getting killed over drugs. And many of these individuals were the fathers, the heads of the household. So your millions of your fathers are now in the criminal justice system, which makes them ineligible to become husbands and fathers in many cases. It's very hard to become a husband and a father and deal with all that responsibility when you're dealing with the criminal justice system. You're dealing with the economic challenges. You're dealing with all these other issues. And then not to mention the fact that there's so much violence out here, you don't know who's going to get killed. I know several single mothers who found good fathers who got murdered in the street. This happens all the time. And then you have the war on drugs. This is where Joe Biden comes in, which makes him a mortal enemy to the black man. He comes in with this crime bill and literally is ignoring his own son's drug addiction years later, while at the same time telling black people, or it was anybody, but you know who went to prison the most, that if you have even that much crack cocaine, they're going to instantly give you at least 5 years in prison and take everything that you have. So they're going to emasculate you in a couple ways. They're going to strip you of your freedom, and then they're going to strip you of your wealth, which pretty much means I'm going to strip you of your power. See, that's what this whole white supremacy game is all about. It's a power game. It's a power dynamic. So what I'm saying is that black people will not regain black power until we understand the importance of the black family. You cannot understand the importance of the black family when you are creating these overcompensation models that put all the weight of the universe on the back of the black woman, or make her so masculine that she can't get along with a black male, because you're going to end up fighting all the time. And so really, when I look at this movie, there's nothing in this film that makes me really want to go see it. I'm all for girl power. I have daughters, and I teach them all about being powerful women and having their own wealth and protecting themselves from the toxic men that exist in the world. We talk about this all the time, and I want them to be fully prepared. And I don't blame them if they watch the Black Panther and enjoy the film. But believe me, I'll be the guy sitting right back behind them saying, don't you dare think that this is the only way for a woman to be strong. Don't you dare think that a woman can't also be strong by embracing her feminine nature that God gave her. Don't think that you got to go put on a pair of combat boots and pick up a sword and a gun and run out here like a dude playing football and all this other stuff, trying to prove that you're just like a man. Being equal to men does not mean being just like men. That's the weirdest thing in the world to me. I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, I understand it. Maybe some people, because of how they're built or how they're born, there are some men who just naturally feel like women on the inside because something biologically has occurred, right? Same thing with women, right? There are some women who just say, look, I don't feel like a woman. I don't want to be a woman. I want to be a guy. I get that. But to indoctrinate that, and to push that narrative is a huge, huge problem. And it's causing, and you're seeing it all around you. You're seeing the broken families everywhere. So understand that media plays a big part in this. Media does shape culture. We got to have more narratives of Black people loving each other, supporting each other, lifting each other up, collaborating, building each other, making each other smarter, making each other better, helping each other succeed. You cannot have these narratives that add to the already pre-existing gender war that exists. I'm not accusing Ryan Coogler of doing any of these things. I think he's a great director. I'm sure the film's going to be great. I love the women and the men that are in the film. I just personally, as a matter of protest, just am kind of saying, come on, man. I think we can do better than that. I really do. And I hope that they can hear it in that way. And if they can't hear it, it's okay. You have a right to disagree. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to come back a little bit later on today, and we're going to talk about some financial stuff. You guys know I love to talk about the stock markets and everything. There's plenty of opportunities out there. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. Thumbs up. And also, if you go to BoyceWatkins.com, you can find information about joining us at the All Black National Convention, which is going to be October 28th through the 30th in Charlotte, North Carolina. Go ahead and start planning now. We have discounted hotel rooms available at the Sheraton. So go ahead and get your hotel room and make your plans. You're going to love it. It's like a big family reunion. It's the greatest experience ever. And so anyway, guys, please have a wonderful day. God bless you. Thank you for listening. And I will see you all soon. So take care now. Bye-bye.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.